should you be practicing with sticks instead of these steel swords if you want to do sword fighting? Well, for myself, I practice with sticks a lot. One problem with sticks is, of course, that they are not like swords. They are usually much lighter. They don't have the cross guard typically. But even so, cheap, easy. And if you are doing sparring, I do sparring a lot with sticks, rattan sticks, quite heavy actually, about 1 kilogram or so. So the weight of the stick is important in that should be close to your sword weight. But it usually doesn't have to be as heavy as your sword. Swords have these pommels which act as a back weights. So the balance of a sword is typically much better than the balance of the stick. So the stick, it's gonna be front heavy always if you don't balance that out. Some people do, I don't. So it feels more like an axe than a sword. So it's gonna be a little bit different, and some techniques which work really well with swords are not gonna work so well with sticks because of the balance difference. So I have to be prepared for that. But even so, I recommend it because you can spar with sticks much more easily. You don't need to have so much protective gear, especially if you like to strike hard. If you are having a steel sword and you strike hard, well, you have to have a lot of protective gear if you're going to hit somebody actually. So with sticks, especially with rattan sticks, they are flexible. The hardwood sticks I wouldn't recommend. Rattan is good, you can get thick rattan. It's much more flexible, and even though you would get hit from those, it's unlikely that any bones will be broken. Bruises will come and you still have to wear some protection, but you might be quite okay with this lighter protection except your head. So your head has to be protected very well. So when I look at these HEMA tournaments, they're still wearing fencing masks. So that tells me that they are not hitting very hard actually, or the weapons are super flexible for some reason. With rattan sticks, my helmet is closer to 4 kilograms, and that's quite necessary in order to avoid concussions and things like that from heavy rattan sticks. But anywhere else I'm wearing like hockey or HEMA armor protection, so mostly plastic with some padding in there. So and some places I don't have anything, so if I get hit there, there's gonna be a bruise, but no broken bones. So I kind of recommend the sticks. And there is one more thing with sticks. If you tape those sticks, so let's say you take this rattan stick and you put on some fiberglass tape. We do that in order to avoid that from splintering, so we can use it longer. So it protects the rattan quite a bit. So the side effect is that because there's tape, so when you hit stick against stick, they will actually behave a little bit like sharp blade against sharp blade. So those will stick, the sticks will stick. So they don't slide against each other so easily. A little bit, yes, but not too much. They kind of bang. So it's a good simulator for, I think, for sharp swords as well, which is really surprising here. And I've seen kind of whatever technical innovations, this kind of wavy edge plastic swords, but you don't need those. You just take a stick and tape it with fiberglass tape or some duct tape or whatever, and there you have it. Once it gets a little bit worn, it's not sliding anymore, and you have a good simulator right there. So pick your choice, I would say, but for me, I've been using those for many years, and they work really well, surprisingly well, and I'm quite happy with those, and they're quite safe too. And what you can also do, if you even if you have this heavy helmet with the visor, open visor, so no mesh, because the stick diameter is quite big, even if you thrust with those, it doesn't come through the visor slots if those are small enough. So it solves that problem. And then you can of course use long sticks like two-handed sword simulators or spears even. So one-handed spear and shield is totally possible with sticks. But with steel, if you are having a spear or a pole arm, and that's not going to be flexible, if the shaft is hard wood, that's calling for trouble. And I think in HEMA they have this problem of having this pole arm problem, in that the armor is not going to protect enough, and that's true. And I think they should be using rattan instead for pole arm simulation and up the armor a little bit, especially the helmets. So fencing masks are, I think they're crazy for this kind of thing. So too light, too easy to get concussions, and whatever mesh there is, it's very thin. So if you get hit there with high power from a pole arm, not good. So sticks have their use, and they have been used historically, of course, in practice, or as war clubs, even as weapons. So they are not that far off, but of course they are different. And if you are practicing this very slicey sword styles, you can still use sticks. So they're round. You can cut with sticks without much fear. Only thing is to protect your face, maybe, and maybe the fingers. So you can have a nice fight with light sticks if you're cutting only, light cutting, without almost no protective gear and going full speed. So I recommend it, but of course your choice.